Welcome to Just Sayin', a podcast produced by and recorded at Tri-State Worship Center. Now here are your hosts, Allison Gardner and Pastor Terry Wagner.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Just Sayin' podcast. My name is Allison Gardner.
Hey! Wait a minute.
Hey!
You didn't even get to who you were here with.
No.
That was earlier
I
than normal.
Did not.
Well, I wanted to get you before
Timing.
What? I am not surprised.
I wanted to get you before you sneezed.
Oh, I'm never going to sneeze now.
That's my goal right now. My goal is to prevent you from sneezing
Stop.
in the
So
next 40
mean.
minutes.
Then we'll have to edit it out.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Nobody likes
You're
to
just
do
making
that.
more work for me, really.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler, why do we have you here then? I mean, gotta do
Wow.
something.
Wow.
Why don't you just take
Wow.
that beer bar and just whack me
Man.
over the head with it?
We love Tyler.
Or better yet, stab me in the heart.
Man,
No.
these second-year college students, man, they get pretty rough.
No.
Wow.
Well,
Man.
okay, I'm going to introduce you all
Okay,
now.
I'll be quiet.
I'm here with Pastor Terry Wagner.
Hello, Allison.
Hello. And also our wonderful, lovely sound magician, Tyler Staten.
That's better. Hello.
Lovely. Lovely.
I said wonderful, lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely. Us guys, we don't like lovely.
You know?
And mildly sweaty.
Okay. Same. Same.
That's because this broadcast is brought to you by ramen noodles.
You think
right.
that was the best segue into it?
Sure.
Sweat?
Well, it's kind of tastes like that, doesn't it?
But
You're
it
not supposed to
appears
say that if we're their
Oh.
sponsor.
Oh,
it appears that ramen noodles has competition because I now see boxes over there that say
yeah.
Cup noodles.
noodles.
So
You know
what?
You know what
so
happened
we
there?
got some fierce competition going
I
on.
ordered the wrong thing.
Oh.
Plain and
Uh-oh.
simple. Plain and
Wah,
simple.
wah,
Yeah,
wah.
I did it.
Well.
It was wrong. Them poor children,
Yeah,
They gonna get cup noodles.
they'll still eat.
They got it.
that's true.
They got it, and they
got it.
will.
They will
eat.
They will.
Hey,
Hello.
why are we here?
We're here to record a podcast.
We are recording
knew?
a podcast.
It's good to see you guys.
It's good to see you, Allison.
It has
Are
been
you
a minute.
enjoying your summer?
I am enjoying it. Sorta. It's been busy. You know,
Busy.
just working a lot.
But you're not schooling during the summer.
No school. Thank
Adulting.
goodness. Yeah. Just
Not
summer's
fun, huh?
not the same. You know. Yeah, it's not the
Now
same.
that you're all grown up,
Yeah. Summer's
summer's
to
not
be,
the same since I've become an adult.
Well, it used to be like relaxing, you know, and like you get a
No,
break.
I don't know. It's not, I don't remember
Yeah.
any summers ever being like that for me.
Well, here we are.
Okay, so you're busy working.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug in for the?
No,
You could, and
I do
maybe we
not.
could get some money.
they would not pay us.
Merch.
But, anyways,
Okay,
we're here for a more important reason.
we are
We are here to interview someone very special.
very special.
Very,
You may
very
have heard her
special.
giggle a second ago. Let's see if you can
That's
guess
not
who
a
she
sound
is.
effect.
No, we didn't just add that in. Add the female, tone in there, just for kicks.
There's only one female tone so
Yeah.
far.
Yes.
Yeah, true. But why don't you introduce her, PG?
Well, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
When I was probably 6 years old or 7 years old, I met this redheaded girl at church. Her name was Vicki Hayden. And
It's not her.
and here we are.
Just
My lovely wife of 43
Woo!
plus years, who has been incredible person that I would not, I mean, obviously God's changed my life, but second in line is Vicki. I mean, I even said that. I haven't
she
told her
cracked
this.
that whip, didn't
I
she?
haven't told her this, but last night at the men's Bible study here at Tri-State Worship Center, no one saw the road. I said, probably the person who taught me most about how to be a good father and a good husband is Vicki. I mean, she's an incredible woman. She's creative. She's everything a woman ought to be. Make her
Start
welcome,
singing.
everybody.
Start singing.
Vicki Wagner.
Wow. Hi, everybody.
there it is.
So humble.
Yeah,
Hello, everybody.
she's here.
We
Probably
really,
our most prestigious guest.
Oh, no
yeah.
doubt.
I mean,
Oh,
since
yeah.
we've started this podcast.
And she dressed for it today,
She
too.
did.
She looks so good. Oh
She
my
got her good
goodness.
clothes on.
She does.
If anyone looks lovely, it is
Yes,
her.
yes.
That's what happens when you work at a funeral home.
What?
Fair.
Well, we'll have to dive into that in a few moments. But anyway, Vicki and I have known each other probably since we were 6 or 7 years old. Went to the same church together. Her mom took her to church. My parents took me and my brothers to church. And
Did you chase her around the playground?
I don't remember. I don't think I did. I don't think I chased you
Okay.
around the playground.
Did you chase him around the playground?
Oh, definitely not.
Nah, you're not a
That's
chaser,
that's
are
a
you?
no.
You're not a chaser. They
big
come
no.
to you.
Yeah, exactly. She
right.
she gets pursued.
You heard about me, I think.
Yes. Okay. Where were we? Train. Come back to the station.
Church. Your parents took you to church.
And, when I turned, I don't know, 17 and a half, 18, something like that, got my life straightened up. Vicki would have nothing to do with me as far as relationship-wise because I was not a Christian. And I tried. I mean, I tried my best, but she just wouldn't. And then when I think it might have been right around my 18th birthday, I got saved, recommitted my life to the Lord, and we started dating after that, and we got married a year later, and here we are. 43 years, 2 children, 3 children, 2 biological children, 1 adopted child, and then 5 grandchildren from that. And Vicki's with us in studio today.
She is.
And we're so
Hey,
thankful.
still here.
At any point, did you hold a boombox outside of her window? And
No.
That was
Okay.
before that.
I did have a gremlin.
well, they could have wrote that movie
Maybe.
based on that
Maybe
experience.
they
oh, wait a
did.
minute. You're
You
talking about
never
a
know.
movie?
Yeah.
Yes. Say anything.
No.
Oh,
Can't
wow.
help you. Have you seen it, Vicki?
Nope.
Yeah. See, so I'm
John
not the only
Cusack.
one.
Yeah. 80s.
So, Vic, you have, I mean, really, truly, you have been a believer ever since I've known you. For now, 55 years, whatever it's been.
True. This is true.
So, I mean, do you remember a particular time in life when you said, "Lord, forgive me my sin. I want to be a believer," or I mean, has that just been your DNA ever since you can remember?
It's just always been there. There's not a definite date and time, and I know a lot of people have that. I don't have that. That was always just part of my life.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because my mom was a believer. To say I grew up in a Christian home, I grew up in a half Christian home. So I,
Talk about that. Tell.
well, I can relate to both sides.
Okay.
You know, I saw my mom never waver from that. She was a perfect example of what a Christian woman should be, always in every aspect of her life, even in being married to I don't want to say unbeliever, but non-practicing believer. I mean,
Yeah.
is that how you would say that?
Yeah, I mean, he believed in God, but he was not
Right.
a church goer and guy. And,
Right.
and I want you to talk about your dad. Tell people, how it was growing up in that home. You said half Christian. What was the other half?
The other half was a chronic alcoholic, verbally abusive person. People outside of our home, even our neighbors, we had been there since I was in 3rd grade. And with some conversations with our neighbors, even after my dad had passed, they had no idea what went on in our house right next door or across the street. So there's a lot of secrecy
Yeah.
to that. You go out those doors and stuff you just don't talk about. You go out and you're trying to be the best you can be, which again, learned that from my mom. I remember her telling me at times, she said, I get embarrassed or a little ashamed because I leave this house and go to places that know that I'm a believer and I reek with smoke, and, or things like that. And, but she just was so upstanding in everything she did.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How do you think that, with your dad being the chronic alcoholic, how do you think that helped, or not helped, but challenged and encouraged your mom to continue the Christian journey? I mean, do you feel like that? I'm going to say your mom was an angel on
She
earth.
was.
I mean, she was incredible woman. Taught me a lot of stuff about the Bible and God. But having, a husband or your dad being the chronic alcoholic, do you feel like that kept her faith focused? I guess maybe is the best way to say that.
I think she kept her faith focused, but I think
Do you think she ever wanted to throat punch him?
maybe deep inside.
Yeah.
But
But-
the focus of her faith.
I think part of the focus of her faith, and maybe that goes back to what you were saying, that it helped strengthen her faith, is that she always wanted to show that faith in front of him. His mother was a believer. And
You mean Big Mommy?
Big Mommy, Big Mommy and Big Daddy, they were believers. And actually, his mother and my mom were just basically inseparable. My grandmother always thought my dad was called to the ministry, and she felt like that's the reason that he drank. She felt like he ran from that. But my mom would never do anything to hurt her witness in front of my father.
Yeah.
No matter what he did. She was always that person, no matter what, till the very end.
Wow. She was really trying to model what Paul talked about in winning unbelieving husbands over without a word,
Right.
like serving them and like lifestyle evangelism.
Sure.
Really, it sounds
you don't
like.
want to push someone by pushing religion or Christianity onto them. And she knew that. She just lived it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did having your mother, her influence over you was obviously stronger than your dad's influence over you, because you could have gone either way, I think, in having an unbelieving or, a non-practicing father. So why do you think, was your mom just really diligent about making sure that you knew the truth and didn't follow in the steps of your dad?
That was never a discussion. She, it was just her living it. It was not pushed like I said, no one wants to push it on someone
Yeah.
like my dad. She wasn't going to push it on me either, or my brother. She let us make all those decisions. I won't go into how everybody in the household believes, but no, it was just her character and who she was. There was not a single person on this earth that did not love that woman, and she was worthy of that love.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I mean, obviously, your mom, a huge model for you. Other people in your life in those early informative years where you're developing this, Christ-centered life, other people that were influential in helping you get there?
Yeah, bypassing my dad, his family.
Yeah.
I mean, his family were believers. I was
they-
extremely close with his sisters. So, yeah, his family.
Yeah, we, not that I ever go on a rabbit trail. on this
No,
podcast.
never.
Never happens.
Never.
He does that here too.
What?
Squirrel.
What?
Exactly.
Look at the pretty lights. We took our honeymoon in September of '77. Went to Gatlinburg for like 3 days because that's all we could afford.
Yeah.
At the famous Yoder's Inn, send us some money. If
Still
you'd
there.
like. And then we had a couple of days left, and we went to her grandparents' house
Oh.
in the bowels of Virginia. And when I say the bowels of Virginia, I'm a city boy. I grew up on the east side of Indianapolis in the ghetto. And man, all of a sudden I found myself between these two mountains with a creek, and I thought, oh my goodness. And my first impression, my first sight of anybody of her dad's family was her dad's dad, her grandpa, coming out of the chicken coop after he had just taken care of one of the
Wow.
chickens. Yeah. And I'm a city boy. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh. And I thought I heard dun 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 dun. I thought I heard that.
First time you ever heard a banjo.
Yeah. But getting to know them,
Yeah.
it's like she said. I mean, you would eat breakfast and then have a hymnal song service going on. And her grandpa lost an arm in a factory accident, but he could play the tambourine on that.
Messed up.
I mean, it was incredible. It was incredible. It was.
Yeah.
And I acted like I could play the guitar, but I really couldn't. But
Yeah.
they were very, very strong followers of Christ. I don't want to say they were religious, but they were very, very strong followers of Christ. I know that was a big impact on you. Versus, and again, you don't have to talk about anything you don't want to, even though we are recording and we don't really want to stop.
Right.
Versus your other set of grandparents, who were not necessarily followers of Christ until the end. We had the privilege of having your grandpa at church, not too far before he passed away. But yet you were close to them too, but the influence that they had on your life was not the same as the influence of the followers of Christ and what they had on your life.
You can love someone, but not take up their habits or follow in their footsteps. I loved all of my
Oh,
grandparents.
I know you did. Yeah.
But, it definitely wasn't the same. And then, of course, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, the same situation. My dad was not a practicing believer, but his family was. My mom was. Her family was not. So it's funny how that
Yeah.
Yeah.
happens.
Weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you could love people that were not necessarily followers because you obviously loved me long before we got together.
Oh, wait, let me tell you how we got together. All right, he comes into church, I think hungover,
Hey.
and he comes up to me, and he's got his class ring. He goes, "Can you hold this for me?" I said, "Well, when do you want it back?" He goes, "I'm not sure I ever do." I'm like,
Good, huh?
this guy
That's a pretty good line.
is not for me. Somebody get me out. Where's the door?
Can you hold this for me?
Wow. How long had you been holding on to that one?
Well, no, I think I've only used it one time.
Okay.
I told my mom.
One and done.
I
Yeah.
told my mom. She goes, "You go that back to him right now."
Well, she
Yes,
knew
ma'am.
me.
She did know
she
you.
Knew me. It was, and I've not. I mean, go back to season 1, episode 1. I mean, I wasn't a good guy. I admitted that.
Yeah.
The Lord has changed my life, but this is not about me, Vic.
It is not, but I do want to expound on that just a little bit. With Terry's lifestyle, I did not want that for me in my life because I grew up with that. I was looking for someone to rescue me out of that.
Yeah.
And it had to have been God, or I would not have ever went out with him because, and I told
But
him,
not because of looks or anything like that.
oh, no.
Okay, but it was because of
Really
what I was
habits.
doing.
Right. And I told him, I said, this has to be a God thing. And I said, and if we would get married, I don't believe in divorce, but I'm telling you, I'm not living the rest of my life like I grew up. So he knew he better walk the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a lonely life for him.
So, can you talk more about how you got to that point where you felt from the Lord that was something that He wanted you to do?
Well, funny story. Our pastor and his wife at the time, Terry was kind of in and out of church. And we were real close.
More out than in.
Right. And our pastor and his wife knew that. And so she came to me and she goes, "You know you're going to marry Terry Wagner." I said, "You're crazy." And she goes, "No, you're going to marry him and you're going to be in the ministry." I said, "Why would you tell me that, knowing what he's doing right now?" She goes, "I'm just telling you because I know that's what God has revealed to me." And I don't know what point that I gathered that I accepted that.
Yeah.
She went home and cried all night.
I was like,
Looking for every reason for this not to be true.
I was like, something is wrong with her.
Yeah, she has indigestion or something.
But I mean, that's what happened. That's what happened. But she kind of, maybe God knew that I needed that little backup.
Yeah.
Because on her own, she was
Because
not
I was
going
not
there.
going there.
God's
was
up there
not.
scratching his head. I don't know what I'm going to have to do to
And
connect her.
I loved her and I trusted her and I listened to her words.
Yeah.
And then
But
went on
yeah.
a 40-day fast saying, "Lord, please no."
No. I mean, I was fine with being friends with him, but yeah, I knew what I did not want for my life. Maybe I didn't know everything I did want for my life at 18, but I knew what I did not want the rest of my life to look like.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to say, and I've said that I've used this in messages and when I was a youth pastor. I mean, Vicki would have nothing to do with me relationship-wise as long as I was not a believer. That's a great lesson that needs to be taught nowadays. You know, that you don't have to get together with someone that just because they're of the opposite sex and have a heartbeat. You can wait. You can wait for what the Lord wants to bring your way. And Vicki she wouldn't go out with me. I had an afro and I dressed as good as I could, being poor, but she wouldn't. I mean, like she said, we were friends. We went out and ate pizza with other.
I would go over to his house on Sunday afternoons and hang out with his mom, his brothers' girlfriends, hang out with Terry. But I mean, I had no desire to have for it to be anything more than that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Wow,
That's funny. I was actually going to ask that, just more curious than anything, because we always hear the little snippets of the story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, did she just like despise him until that point? Or were they friendly? Like,
we
how
were
did this
friends,
work?
and I mean, still, I'm extremely close with his brothers.
yeah.
I was the first female married into a family of 5 boys.
Yeah.
So, and I went over, and his mom was not extremely crafty. And I mean, I'd go over and help with their birthday parties. I'd go over and help with his party. I went and helped with his graduation party, and I gave him some dating advice. His girlfriend was there, and she was treating him. I said, "What is wrong with you? You need to move on. She's treating you terrible."
I said, "Well, girl."
I said, I tried.
I mean, I had his back, even though we were not dating. I looked out for him.
I see her more as a mom. Taken care of.
Something's wrong with you, Terry. You need to stop.
And things have never changed. We got married on my 19th birthday, which if I had to do over again, I would do it again, but I don't recommend anybody get married that young. I mean, we were kind of like out of high school. We both had, enough of the home life, and we were ready to be married, move on, and that's what we did.
But back in that time, that's kind of what you did.
A lot of people did.
It's not that way now.
We came back early from the honeymoon so that I could start singing in a Southern Gospel quartet, and
Which just about ended our marriage.
I was gonna lead you into that.
Go ahead, run with it.
I was doing the work of the Lord.
So says you.
And playing softball 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And got to a point where you were ready to not do that.
Right. Well, I was a single parent, basically. You got married, but you didn't read the rule book on the changes that need to happen.
This is not a counseling session.
And you opened the door.
Tell us more.
Well, listen closely. I would spend holidays at church by myself with 2 little babies. And he was states away. And then one Easter, I was like, no, not going to do this. That's not what I bought into. And so I just said, done with this. And they were on the high road. They recorded an album and 2 albums.
And one of them in Nashville.
Right. They were getting ready to go big, and I said, no, I'm not, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be a single parent. And so I left.
She left.
She
me.
said, okay, go big or go home. And you better go home.
Well, I think that, there's been several of those kinds of crisis in our marriage, as far as, pressure points that led us into bigger, better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that, Vicki explaining that to me, something about a finger in my face and a bunch of, but
not
yet,
true.
That's not true. Don't have her here anymore. Okay?
I was kind.
But stern.
I'm leaving. Just go away.
And so I left the group that was getting ready to make it to the big times, and took up a local position at our home church, the church we grew up in.
Right.
Minister of music and youth there, and that allowed us to obviously flourish together in leading up those ministries. And then after about 8 years of that, the Lord, we felt like, gave us the call to go full time in the ministry. Can you just talk about what you felt, how you felt in that moment when it was time to leave everything we knew and everybody we knew and a steady job, making a lot of money, and then here we're going to load everything we got up into 2 U-Haul trucks and we're moving to West Virginia.
And we did.
Cue the banjos.
Yes, exactly.
Again.
Well, I think with everything that happened that led up to that, I was ready for that. I wouldn't have been if some of the hurtful things had not happened.
Not hurtful from me.
Right.
In that case.
Time. Right. You were
Man,
you were
We should
good
have
this
her on
time.
here more.
You like me here, don't you?
I think I got to go.
Yeah. It's another one of those God things. It was a hurtful path. It was a hard path, but it was a path that needed to happen to make us ready for those changes, especially the financial changes, everything that, it was a lot, but God was in it and we knew it, and that's why it went so smoothly.
It did.
And everyone was accepting of us having to leave. Not accepting, it was hard, excruciating, but it all worked the way it should have worked.
And so you think that those hiccups, those times of hurt, those times of difficulty actually propelled us, forward in the right direction to do what God's called us to do.
Yes.
And obviously I knew you were going to say yes, and that's why I asked that. But
Do you know me?
what is your name again?
It's Vicki.
You look very familiar. What are you doing when we're done recording?
Fixing dinner.
Give her your class ring.
Wherever that thing is.
Yeah, I don't know. Got this other band on my hand now. I don't know what to do about it. Let's shift gear, and I'm asking all the questions, but obviously, Allison, you're the producer. You can ask whatever you want to. Let's talk about the disciplines of a Christian life real quick. That's like prayer, Bible reading, church attendance. Like, how do you, obviously, I think that the answers are obvious, but I'd like to hear you talk about, what that looks like in your life as far as practicing those things of prayer and Bible reading, church attendance. What does it look like to you?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I don't have this. I know some people are on this strict daily regiment and I'm not that way.
Right.
So I listen to your sermons, and I know you'll be glad to know that.
Man, you're getting it then.
All right. Isn't that all I need?
All you need.
Allison did not say anything.
And silence on this side of the table. I don't know how to answer that.
Well, I know you're a praying woman,
Sure.
but it's, like you said, not a rigid schedule of I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and pray for an hour.
Right.
But and so I know that you are, because I'm pretty sure that I would not be where I'm at if you were not a praying woman.
Oh, that's true.
Our children would not be, where they're at without the prayers of their mom. And so I know that you do that. But I guess I wanted to kind of contrast that with the people that are like, hey, get up, read a chapter, pray for a half hour, do this, and that's okay. If that's the way you practice your discipline, then great. But then there are other people, and I probably fall into that category with Vicki. I don't necessarily. I do try to do a devotional every morning, but my prayer time is throughout the day. Just whenever the opportunities present themselves to pray.
Right.
And so I wanted to hear you say that, and I wanted the people that would be listening to this later hear you say that, it's okay not to be. Now, other areas of your life are very structured.
True. I wish I was more structured with that. I really do. I just have not found that right rhythm, that right combination for me for a daily routine.
Have you had that before, like in past seasons of life, or
Before
is it just,
kids and marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
And Terry.
we all know that it's going to be different depending on what season of life you're in. So
Right.
I was just curious if that's been different for you throughout the years, how it has changed, and how the Lord has used those things in your life.
I kind of have always been this way. I feel like there are times like Sunday during service, I felt this very strong, I just felt like the Lord was saying, after one of the songs, he says, you just need to stop the service right now and you need to pray for Sandra, and so we did. And you don't hear a lot out of me on the platform, but when I feel like that God is telling me to do something or God is moving me in a direction, then that's where I go. Some people have said, listen, when she stops and says something, you better better listen. I don't know about that. Now, Terry, you should listen.
It's true. It's true.
But no, I feel like everything is kind of day to day with me.
Yeah.
I do see now that I am 63 and gone back to work. I haven't worked for 40 years, but I love it. Now I've had the grandkids all these years, and I feel like that is where God was leading me. All that time was to be with them and to pour into them. And now that this fall, the last one's going to be in school, and I thought, I think I'm going to go back to work. And being at a funeral home, there's been several opportunities for me to witness and be a part of people's lives. And I've even made friendships with 2 women from one funeral that we took care of 100% over the phone.
Wow.
And we had this spiritual connection. So, I think I'm learning from people spiritually every day as I go along.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Can you point to some specific moments in your life when you saw the Lord working the most in you personally, sanctifying you and bringing you closer to Him? I feel like from your story and you and Terry's story, those times when your marriage was struggling, I feel like that could be really isolating and feel very lonely. So were those times, or were other times specifically like times when the Lord drew you closer to Him and strengthened your faith, or just any other time in your life when that's happened?
I would say more so when my dad got cancer. And I drove back and forth to Indianapolis for 3 years to help care for him. And I felt like I needed to make a decision on maybe taking control of things when I was younger I couldn't control in that situation. And I needed to decide when he finally passed how I was going to carry on my life with that combative relationship with him. So I had decided that, one, I was going to drive back and forth, and I was going to be as helpful as I could to him. I was going to be very godly and loving to him and helpful to him every chance that I got. And I had told Terry, I said, when he passes, all of these feelings and hurt, and it passes with him. I was going to do everything I could do to heal that relationship, and I feel like that I couldn't have done that without God laying those stepping stones to make that happen.
Yeah.
When Dad was in the hospital and he started losing his hair,
Which he had helmet hair.
He
you know
did.
What I mean?
This most beautiful curly hair. He had pride in his hair, and his hair was falling out. And I said, "Would you like me to shave that for you?" He goes, "If you'd like." So I said, "Okay." So I'm shaving his head. He goes, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" I said, "Darn tootin' I am.
Yeah.
I feel so powerful right now."
Yeah.
I'm a woman with a blade in my hand.
That's right.
Well, and the cool thing, and I'll try to make this real short because we're getting close to time, but, Vicky's dad was a believer in God, but never practiced that until 3 days before he passed. And my mother-in-law's pastor went up and prayed with him. And it's the first time that any of us know of that he actually prayed to commit his life to the Lord. And I know that kind of probably goes against the grain of some theologies out there, and that I'm not here to debate any of that. I'm just here to say that 3 days before he left this planet, he gave his heart and life to the Lord. And I did his funeral, and it was a unique funeral, probably the most unique funeral
It was
I've
beautiful.
ever done. And I had people that were upset with me at the from the service because, I'm going to take his proclamation of faith, and I'm going to believe that, he's just as saved as I. Now, I wished at that point I'd have had that little thing that's been going around. What are you going to do with the thief on the cross? How does that fit into your theology? I wish I had that thing because that's what we were talking about, really. Because he's in a hospital. I mean, he never came out. He didn't have a chance to get baptized. He didn't have a chance to try to practice anything, but he did make that confession. And so it's kind of cool that your mom hung in there.
Yeah.
At times when I thought she's crazy, I mean, just literally, I thought there's no way.
Right.
But she was an angel, and then for you to be able to serve him the way that you did.
Right.
And obviously, it goes back to that scripture that you said, without even saying a word.
Right.
You can win them.
Right.
And I'm thankful that that's the way that it played out, and because we were there the day that he passed, and it was. I don't want to say it's weird to say it was cool. That sounds morbid almost, but it was just neat. It was just neat the way it all worked out.
It was a beautiful story.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll say his name, Buford Hayden. Buf, as the people that were close to him. He had a heart as big as this room.
He did.
I mean, he would do anything for anybody.
And very creative.
Yeah, but you just couldn't stand to be around him. There were times when me and him just about went to blows.
That's true.
Because of things he would say, and Vicky and her mom were kind of used to it, but I wasn't. And later or earlier, maybe I would have said things like he was saying, but I wasn't saying them then.
Yeah.
And but it really was just, it's a story of redemption. It's the story
Yeah.
of how the blood of Christ was shed for, the remission of sin.
And
that's what
anyone
worked
can
out.
be redeemed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the power of prayer and faithful women or people in your life who know that the Lord has called you to this role as a wife and as a daughter, and serving in that, even though it doesn't look like it's going to work out the way that you
Right.
want it to.
And you can look at that situation and say, well, he didn't deserve
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But you know what? We don't
We don't.
deserve
Who
it.
does? Who does?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's so good.
Yeah. One last question.
Yeah.
You're the producer, though. You get to decide.
Okay. It depends on how good your question is.
And she'll judge that.
Yeah, she
What
will.
is your favorite color?
Well, greatest disappointment and greatest joy in your Christian journey altogether. I know it's a big one to ask on the spot, but greatest joy, greatest discouragement.
Yeah.
On the Christian front,
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think I have any discouragements. Because on the other side, you see why.
Okay.
So I don't feel like I have anything discouraging. What was the last part?
Joy, the greatest joy.
Greatest joy is probably seeing where we are now and just the joy, happiness, growth of the people at the church and just seeing where God brought us from and to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You left everything, holding on to a hope that something would happen out of it.
We left everything.
And here is the hope. I mean,
right.
And what maybe this means nothing to anyone else, but now she's working at a funeral home that's in the building
Yeah.
that we planted the church in.
yeah.
Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Marm,
Yes.
thank you
Yes,
so
love.
much for
You're
coming
welcome.
on. Even though, this isn't your forte per
Correct.
se, but we appreciate you,
Yeah.
and we appreciate your ministry and the way that you have served this church and the people here. So that's why we wanted to have you on.
Yeah.
You're incredible, and we love you. And
I love you.
I love you.
And she can sing.
yes, she can. She can. But yeah, that wraps up
It
this
does.
season.
The season.
Shoo.
This is it.
This is it.
Season 5, episode 7.
Yes, a season of stories.
Yeah.
She was our lightning round.
Yes, she
Whoa.
was. She was.
That's almost better than here's my ring. Can you hold it?
Wow.
Was that a redhead joke?
No, that was just by happenstance.
Ding. Oh, well, we hope you all enjoyed this season. It was great to hear from so many different perspectives about what it means to be a Christian to different people and how the Lord has really worked in people's lives to be faithful to them and to know that, we're not alone in this struggle. We're pilgrims on this earth, and that we can be encouraged by other people's testimonies and
Amen.
stories.
Yeah.
So I guess we will see you next season.
It's been fun. Have a great summer.
Yes. Yes. And we'll see you all next time.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.